Welcome to the latest episode of the One Stop Wrestling Podcast. As always, I'm Craig, and tonight we're going to be joined by Rohit and Alex. In this episode, we're going to be talking about best tag team breakups of all time, coming off the heels of the breakup of the Bloodline. So sit back, enjoy, and download your favorite new wrestling podcast. So I'm going to start with you, Rohit. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. First of all, can you hear me? Just got to make sure everything's working.
We can hear you loud and clear.
That's good. Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you guys today?
I'm great. How are you, Alex?
Yeah, really good. It's been a few weeks, hasn't it? So glad to be back.
Well, this is certainly going to be a fun episode. Obviously, we're coming off the heels of one of the biggest breakups in professional wrestling in several years. That is, in fact, the Bloodline. And we're going to talk about some of our favourite tag teams who didn't quite last the distance. So I'm going to start with you, Alex. So give me your first all-time favourite breakup.
Or it is a tough one because there are so many. I'm going to go with the Shield personally. They were such a great faction when they first got together. Their first night they jumped straight into the main event scene. They laid out, I think it was TLC 2012. I think they laid out Ryback and Kane and Daniel Bryan, and they just immediately made their mark. And it was like, whoa, who are these guys? And they just went from strength to strength. Really, they dominated the sort of tag team scene, as well as being involved in the main event scene as well. I think they went unbeaten in trios matches for a good 6 months. They started off as heels, obviously. Did a great job building them up. Then eventually the crowd got behind them all because they were three really talented guys. And they were doing great stuff. So they eventually turned babyface, had some incredible steam behind them. Really, they were on top of the world when they broke up, and it was one of them where they just beaten Evolution. I think 2 pay-per-views straight, both of them clean, and you're thinking, wow, these guys are just on top of the world. What can stop them? And then all of a sudden,
You get that shocking moment with Seth Rollins.
yeah, completely shocking. I did not see that coming. I watched Raw and SmackDown religiously at that time, and at the time as well, it was teased that it was going to be Dean Ambrose that was going to be the one who split, and it ended up being Seth Rollins. And yeah, it was a massive shocker at the time. It was really well done as well, with Triple H coming out with his sledgehammer, saying, there's always a plan B, and then the chair shot to Roman, and then the beating up Ambrose after with the chair, and it was just like, what the hell is going on here? It was a massive shock. All three of them afterwards benefited. Okay, Roman's booking wasn't the best, but they all three immediately straight into the main event singles scene. Ambrose and Rollins had a great feud against each other. Roman's booking wasn't the best, obviously, but he was still there or thereabouts. They all won championships. They all had big WrestleMania matches and moments, and it was the shock factor, the fact that they were on top of the world when it happened, and they all went on afterwards and became something.
Definitely a good choice of breakups. Rocky, were you a fan of the Shield's run in WWE?
Yeah, 100%. I really enjoyed the feud with the White family, and then obviously, as mentioned, Evolution as well was a real shocker as well. Especially like Alex said, the rumors were be like Ambrose was the one that might split or turn, and you didn't really expect it to be Rollins. The other person might have been Roman because there were rumors if you followed like the Dirt Sheet or you were really hardcore at the time that WWE were very high on Roman Reigns and wanted to be the big big guy, the main guy. So you expect him maybe he would have split up the group, but when it was Rollins, I think that came up as quite a bit of a shock. So I think that's a great pick by Alex, really, and I couldn't agree more.
I just remember being so pissed because I am the world's biggest Triple H fan. I
Ugh,
was the world's biggest
ugh.
Evolution fan, and I was pissed that the Shield beat Evolution clean.
Yeah.
Perfect booking, Craig.
Fuck off.
Perfect
I'm,
booking.
I mean, when Triple H loses clean, there must be a reason.
No, I had this argument with Alex outside of the podcast. Uh,
Right.
I don't think people realize how much times Triple H put over someone. I mean, we just need to look at this guy's WrestleMania record.
Oh,
It's
for
Yeah,
God's
shocking.
sake.
it's true. It's true. He's done some good stuff. I'm not
I
gonna
mean, yes,
lie.
did we get a Reign of Terror? Of course we got the Reign of Terror. I was all in on the Reign of Terror. I loved the Reign of Terror.
The one thing I cannot, and it might not be Triple H's fault, but the one thing I cannot forgive him is he couldn't put over Sting at
Do you know what?
WrestleMania.
One of my all-time favorite moments in WrestleMania history:
Mhm.
Triple H patting Sting on the back. I loved it. It was the end of WCW. WWE, WWF had finally won the war. The last man standing in WCW was gone.
Oh, for God's sake.
Paul
It was
Reigns, the King
re-
of Kings.
and
I
what
mean, yes, I can see it from that perspective, but I think it still should have been Sting. But
and what about Booker T as well at night at WrestleMania 19? Come on.
yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, but I don't mind it too much because I'm like, I can see where they were coming from. It was more fresh off the heel, but after so many years, they couldn't give Sting the win, really.
No, because Vince still
Yeah,
had to say
yeah, it's
WWE
true,
is
it's
better than
true,
Like, I know
WCW.
we're getting
it's
off
true.
topic here.
Yeah,
I think one of the issues that we had going into that WrestleMania match was potentially the times that Sting had turned down Vince McMahon's offer to come.
It's bitter.
it's yeah, it's always that, isn't it?
And yeah, we
Final
are off
word.
on a tangent. The Shield should have beaten Evolution two straight, both clean. They were the hot thing going. Sorry, Craig. It was the right thing
Absolutely
to
not. I'm not dealing with this. We're going to move on.
do.
Rohit,
I
give
think we
me your
could.
first
Go ahead.
favorite tag team breakup of all time.
Right, so there's again very difficult, quite a few. Honestly, I think one that I personally enjoyed, not too surprised, but when it happened, it was surprising. It was actually in TNA, and it was Beer Money.
Oh my god,
Oh, that
that
was
was
a
the most
good one.
heartbreaking thing ever.
Yeah, because at first I was like, eventually with their two attitudes and the way the personalities and character were, I thought one of them would eventually turn on the other, but the way it happened, when it happened, the reason why it happened, because obviously James still managed to get the world championship first, and then it rubbed Bobby Roode the wrong way. So yeah, it was really like the best, arguably the best TNA tag teams of all time. Beer
Yeah.
Money, entertaining, both great as faces, heels. They can be slimy heels as they want to be. They can be like the greatest babyface tag team they want to be. Great in the ring, great chemistry, fun. They had it all. They won the TNA World Championship, Tag Team World Championship, and obviously went on to be both great single stars in their own right. And yeah, I think it worked out great for both of them. And just gotta think about James Storm, like what a tag team wrestler, what a wrestler in general. Like
Yep.
he had the Beer Money feud, or even before that, American Most Wanted, their breakup was pretty good too. Just not as big because of what happened to Wildcard. Chris Harris ended up going to WWE's ECW, which no one really remembers. Probably for the better. And obviously it helped James Storm for a short period, but then he ended up back in a tag team, which was like, what was the point of them splitting up? But in the end, it worked out great for him both as the tag team and as a single star in the future. Really,
One of my biggest regrets being a wrestling fan was not getting to see Beer Money have a WrestleMania moment. Because, as you said, they were one of the premier tag teams, not only in TNA, but
hmm
anywhere in professional wrestling around the mid 2000s.
I agree. Yeah, really good. They were even booked in Japan for New Japan when they had that working relationship, and to be in an IWGP World uh,
Yeah,
Tag Team Championship match at that time, especially with the whole like Brock Lesnar situation happening a few years back, where they didn't really trust Western wrestlers and company that much. They had a bit of a issue with that, and obviously New Japan not being the powerhouse that it was to go to back to and is today. It was a really like significant thing for them to actually be part of that match as well.
right. So for my first pick, uh, I'm going to go straight to one that stands out to me a lot from when I was a kid, and that is the breakup of the Rockers.
Yeah,
I
that's a
was
big
close
one.
to saying that.
Yeah, so was I, to be honest. That was on my short list.
Uh, because it also comes from a time where kayfabe was very much alive, and me being 6 or 7 years old at the time, being a huge Rockers fan, had figures, had posters, had it all, and seeing Shawn Michaels put Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window was an absolute holy shit moment. Uh, the only downside to this is we never really got a true feud between Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. We got a little bit of interaction,
Yeah.
but it wasn't where they could have gone with it. But that initial breakup was so shocking at the moment. It's always going to be in my top 10 list.
Yeah, that's an iconic one, isn't it? Everyone remembers Jannetty getting his head put through the barbershop, don't they? It's and of course Shawn Michaels goes on to have an amazing singles career after that. Feel a bit sorry for Marty. Injuries plagued him a little bit, didn't they? But yeah, Shawn really benefited from that one.
Oh, absolutely. So, Alex, your second pick is.
It's another fairly recent one actually, and I'm gonna go with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Um, it was the Festival of Friendship, which is still remembered as one of the most sort of famous segments, certainly of the last sort of 10-20 years in WWE. It was they just had a great pairing. It was a great pairing, those two. They bounced off each other. The chemistry was undeniable, really. Jericho really got a lot of stuff over. The list was such a stupid thing, isn't it? In a vacuum, a list, but it got so over. And of course, Owens was the undisputed champion, the Universal Champion at the time as well. So they were firmly in the main event picture. Jericho constantly referring to Owens as, this is my best friend. He's my best friend, and it was great to watch every week. It was highly entertaining, and they were the highlights of Raw really for a good 6 months with the stuff they were doing. And then of course the breakup was it was the look on Jericho's face, because he Owens, says, "Oh, I've got a list now. It's the list of Kevin Owens, and you're the first name on it." And the look on Jericho's face was brilliant. The selling of he was so sad to see that, and he was shocked, sad, and then obviously Owens just he beat the shit out of him really after that,
What?
and
So, what I don't understand is, after all these years, how does anyone trust Kevin Owens?
It's
it's a
true.
very good question. Because you could also intertwine Owens as like a double entry with Sami Zayn, with what he did to Sami Zayn when he
He
first
turns on
debuted.
everybody. This
Yeah.
is Kevin Owens.
Yeah. I mean, it's his first night in NXT, his very first night.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out, I'm going to congratulate my best friend on winning the title, and then I'm going to powerbomb him onto the apron.
It's Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say is like we as much as I love Kevin Owens, I'd love to be friends with Kevin Owens. If I ever became friends with Kevin Owens, I fully expect him to turn on me.
Jericho should have seen it coming, but he didn't. And that's what
didn't.
made that moment so good, because he was
Very close-minded from Jericho.
Hey?
Very close-minded from Chris Jericho. He should
Yeah,
have
but
known that Kevin Owens would turn on him.
but it was a sad moment for him. He was his best friend. He loved Kevin Owens. And
Jericho doesn't love anyone.
I think the real reason why Jericho was really sad was that I think he was planning to turn eventually on him, but Owens got there first.
Because it's Kevin Owens.
Speaking of Owens, that first night when he turned on Sami Zayn in NXT, he also sent Juice Robinson packing, and look what he's done to Juice Robinson in his career.
Right, so I'm going to go off a little bit off topic here, just before we get on to the next one, because we're talking about Kevin Owens, and I saw this shoot interview not long ago from Kevin Owens, and it's like one of my favorite stories that I've ever seen a professional wrestler talk about. Kevin was talking about playing with his wrestling action figures, and he was saying like when he used to play with his figures, he would like to have entrance music for the wrestlers as he walked them down to the ring. And he was discussing the time where there was one time he wanted to use Stone Cold Steve Austin, but how do you get the glass to break? Well, Kevin, being Kevin, took a glass, smashed it off his wall, which his dad came into the room, saw that Kevin had smashed the glass, beat the shit out of him for smashing the glass. Now, Kevin says, like, this is a normal thing for a kid to do. But to be fair, I was 16 at the time, so I can understand why my dad came and beat the crap out of his 16-year-old son for smashing the glass. He's playing with toys.
That's a great story.
I give up anything that Kevin does. So, Rohit, your second choice.
Now, my second choice, we mentioned them earlier indirectly, but Evolution.
Oh, I was so sad.
Of course you were.
Technically, in a way, twice, because first Randy Orton getting booted, and then obviously Batista turning on Triple H and Ric Flair. Just brilliant TV, really, isn't it? Like, great storyline. The two veterans taking these two younger guys in, and then building them up, and two Hall of Famers, really, in the making. Champions have gone on to do great things, have given back to the business as well. What else can you say, really?
The thing I loved about Evolution's breakup is you literally got two iconic moments of television you'll never forget. The first moment is Randy Orton obviously being on Hunter's shoulders with Batista with the thumbs down. The second moment is you think Batista is going to sign on the dotted line to go to SmackDown to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania. But no, he puts his thumb down, turns on Triple H. We get Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania, where...
Big fight feel.
And also, Triple H puts Batista over at WrestleMania.
For God's sake.
That's what he does.
God's sake.
He's not wrong on this one. I can't disagree with this time. But yeah,
but he didn't put Randy Orton over, did he, originally? And it kind of killed Randy a little bit. What have you got to say about that, Craig?
We're going to do an entire episode of who Triple H has put over during his illustrious career.
See, what Triple H did was ship Randy over to SmackDown eventually, so The Undertaker could try and put him over.
That was the plan all along, yeah.
He's like, I don't want to work Friday nights. Thursday night. Undertaker, can you take Orton from me?
Right. So my second pick, I feel is like one of the most iconic tag teams that we thought we would never see split up, and that's the Dudley Boys
Yeah.
during the first ever Friday Night SmackDown, Monday Night Raw draft.
Draft. Yeah.
We never thought we would see the end of the Dudleys, and it happened as Bubba Ray was drafted to Monday Night Raw. Devon Dudley got drafted to SmackDown, became Reverend Devon, in one of the most insane changes of character of all time. Obviously, we got him back at Survivor Series. But yeah, it's crazy to think that Vince broke up the Dudleys.
Yeah, that was an odd one, wasn't it? Because I'm guessing he went for he tried to push them both as singles. Didn't quite work out, really, did it? The Reverend Devon thing never really caught on. Although we did get Deacon Batista out of that,
Deacon
Yes.
Batista.
so there was a positive out of that. You had Batista with his big chain going around collecting all the money for his reverend.
The donations,
Yeah.
On Monday Night Raw, we were left with Spike and Bubba. But like when they came back together, when that music hit for Devon to come out and help Bubba Ray at Survivor Series, I think it was Madison Square Gardens.
It was.
That pop was huge.
Yeah,
absolutely massive.
One of the greatest tag team of all time, really.
It is the greatest tag team of all time in
I would
my
put them
eye.
at number one. Yeah, because I've watched them the most as well. From like all the great tag teams, I would say them and the Hardys I've watched the most. So I would put Dudley's up number one personally for me as well. Yeah.
Dudley's, Hardys, Edge and Christian. I think the Usos are now
Usos
there.
have to be up there. Yeah.
I mean, this is a great topic for us to do one time. Is the greatest tag teams of all time.
There we go. We got the next few sorted, haven't we? Greatest tag teams, Triple H burials, and the people he's put over.
And we gotta do a John Cena sucks episode, right?
Yes.
John Cena does not suck.
He doesn't, but it makes good.
He doesn't now. He did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I have nothing but
was
respect for John
it
Cena
when he
now,
was,
but 10 years ago as a fan, that guy sucked.
Was it because he was beating Triple H too many times?
Exactly. Do you know why? Because Triple H knew for the business to go where it wanted to go, he had to put John Cena over. And he did that off his own back. He went to Vince, and do you know what? He said, Vince, I'm going to put this guy over. You can't see him. I can see him. I'm going to put him over.
No, Triple H went to Vince and said, this guy is selling merch. He's going to make me more money. That's the real reason.
And he was that unselfish that he was going to put him over at 2 straight WrestleManias, but he got injured. What a shame.
Oh.
I'm not dealing with this, Alex. Alex, your final choice.
Right, my final choice. It's another recent one. Apologies to all those people that, like their old school tag team breakups, but it's an NXT one this time, and it's DIY.
Are they on my short list too?
Yeah, that was Gargano and Ciampa. They just come off that great series with the Revival. Some cracking matches there with those two teams. Two of the best teams of that era, of any era really. And they were so over as babyface because the crowd wanted them to win the titles so bad, and the actual turn itself was really well done, because it was one of them where, they lose, they get the standing ovation from the crowd, they leave, they're sort of arm in arm. The crowd are feeling really sorry for them for the fact they lost, but also sort of embracing just how great that those guys were and how much effort they put in. And even the best touch was the graphic at the bottom of the screen, which was like the end of the show graphic. The NXT graphic comes up, and you think, oh, okay, they're going off air now. Nice little moment with the two of them just sort of taking in the crowd, and then bang, Ciampa just smashes Gargano's head into the floor, beats the crap out of him, and it was the crowd were absolutely stunned. It was a complete shocker, and I suppose after you got some great matches between the two. Really, it turned into a real personal feud, and you got some real good matches out of it. I think they did unsanctioned. They did a last man standing, and that was iconic. That one for me.
And do you know who you have to thank for that iconic moment in professional wrestling, Alex?
Let me guess.
My man, Triple H, helped put that whole segment over. So you can thank Triple H for putting over 4 more guys.
Can you stop fucking going on about Triple H, please?
I mean, the black and gold brand was really something at that time, wasn't it?
It was the best wrestling in North America by far at the time. Better than anything that SmackDown and Raw was putting on.
Oh yeah, streets ahead. Yeah, they were
definitely one of the most iconic tag team breakups in recent memory. So, Rohit, your final choice is?
I'm gonna go a little bit more obscure. Some Japanese wrestling.
I think I know where you're going here.
I might be a curveball, and I'm gonna go with Apollo Go-Go.
Okay, yeah, curveball. Absolutely, I thought you were going to go with Evo and Sanada.
That's a good one too. But the reason why I went with Apollo Go-Go was obviously that's Taguchi, and obviously Prince Devitt or Finn Balor now, obviously, and we all know the story. If you don't know, it's basically Devitt turned heel, turned on his stablemate, and then that eventually led to him joining with this enforcer, Bad Luck Fale, which was really like a Shawn Michael Diesel-esque kind of like formation, which obviously led to Prince Devitt being pushed as this big star, getting these opportunities to compete against heavyweights like Tanahashi and all these guys. And then obviously that led up to the formation of Bullet Club, which you know what Bullet Clubs has done throughout the wrestling history over the last 10 years now. So ups and downs for sure, but the impact they did, and especially like putting New Japan on the map for like the Western viewers.
And 10 years later, we still see that in all of professional wrestling with Bullet Club. The legacy that Balor and Bad Luck Fale created is going to be around for so long.
100%, yeah. And it's everywhere because Fale is now training guys at his Fale dojo, and you have guys coming through the New Japan system and the Fale dojo. You have Devi and AJ and WWE as with the club, and the Judgment Day doing their own things, stuff in AEW with Jay White and Kenny Omega. It's everywhere, really, isn't it, Bullet Club? And
absolutely. Yeah. Right. So my final choice was definitely a curveball at the time. Now, we had NWO on WWE television, which didn't quite work out. Shawn Michaels had joined the NWO after WWE's version of disbanded. We had his best friend Triple H come up and hand him a t-shirt. We didn't know what the t-shirt was. We kind of assumed what it was. We were hoping that we knew what it was. Led to the segment of Triple H and Shawn Michaels going to the ring, reforming D-Generation X, which had me so hyped. I marked out so much for the reformation of DX. And my man Triple H led Shawn Michaels out, leading on to a whole feud, which was absolutely fantastic between the two best friends. Because my man Hunter had to turn around and say, look, Vince, no one's here taking my main event. This is me, my best mate Shawn. We're going to put each other over this time.
You just had to get one with Triple H in, didn't you? You just had to.
I mean, like, it's absolutely iconic. The feud we got between Shawn and Triple H. That 3 stages of hell match is so underrated at Armageddon. If you haven't watched it in a while, go back and watch it. It's an absolute fantastic match, fantastic feud. It led to Shawn Michaels becoming the World Heavyweight Champion at the very first ever Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series.
In his brown tights.
In his brown tights.
Which will never be forgotten.
I don't know what he was thinking about those times.
I don't think anyone does.
They put me off so much every time I watch them. I'm like,
that's because he was shitting himself because he's taking Hunter's spot. So he was kind of like, I need to cover up the fact I'm actually shitting myself here.
For God's sake. To be fair, Craig, I'll agree with you that it was a good one, and it did lead to a great feud in 2002 between them both. Yeah,
agreed, 100%. That was a great feud. 2 of the greatest of all times, really. So.
Oh, absolutely. You can't disagree. Mr. WrestleMania and the King of Terror.
The king of talent, development.
The king of putting everything. People over.
And the king of the shovel.
Look, Alex, we have to be honest here. Like, Triple H is a 14-time world champion, right?
Yep. Yes.
If he was that bad, he would have broke Ric Flair's record in a week. Oh, but he understands wrestling, so he didn't even want to break Ric's record.
Look, I am not denying how good he is, his accomplishments, what he's done for the business. I have just never met anyone, any wrestling fan, that has come up to me and said, my favorite wrestler of all time is Triple H.
I mean, at least it's not Jeff Jarrett, I suppose.
I am going to tell you. Now, this is going to sum up my personal relationship. My girlfriend, Claire, who does a lot behind the scenes for One Stop Wrestling, her favorite wrestler of all time is, in fact, Jeff Jarrett.
Wow. Wow.
So she has Jeff Jarrett TNA figures, T-shirts, WWF figures. Jeff, you name Jeff Jarrett, she owns it. So she's a Jeff Jarrett fan. I'm the Triple H fan. We're kind of made for each other.
Can you imagine Triple H and Jeff Jarrett working together, like, behind the scenes to make a wrestling product?
I mean, how long would they be tag team champions for?
I mean,
I kind of need that tag team now.
I think it would need someone like a Roman Reigns on his tribal chief to take them down. But even then, I don't know if that's enough.
Nobody could stop them. No one.
See, what we could have is we could have Hunter and Jeff Jarrett with the promotion, with Vince Russo doing the booking.
And who would their opposition be? Ric Flair and Sting?
Oh, I don't know. We'll go Kenny and Cody.
That's not a bad shot. I was gonna go with, since the current champions, why not Owens and Zayn? That would be fun, I suppose.
I kind of need this to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I need it to happen. But anyway, for everyone who's listened to this rambling nonsense, I hope you've enjoyed us talking about our favourite tag team breakups of all time. Please remember to subscribe to our Spotify channel. Share our podcast with all your friends. Give us feedback. We would sorely appreciate it. We will make our return to YouTube in the very near future, so you can see all our ugly mugs while we're doing this. I'll even get my Triple H figures in the background. It'll be great. We're all going to love it.
God's sake.
Before I go, Alex, do you want me to really upset you here?
Just do it.
I have every single Triple H DVD, one sealed, one open.
You make me sick.
So until next time, take care, everybody, and join us on the next One Stop Wrestling podcast. Thank you, Rohit, Alex. Have a great evening. We'll speak soon.
Pleasure.
You too. Take care, everyone.
And you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.